Absolutely running over the aforementioned Karthus jungle, went legendary on the pick. This was his first game back with the team after his absence due to illness, and he was so impressive. Certainly the strongest game that he has shown yet at MSI, and we'll see if he can recreate some of that magic for the hometown crowd.
22 KDA when these two teams face on Rek'Sai. That one on the bench, the Rise, a perennial first pick for G2. Will that be the final ban from PVB?
Interesting to see as well. If they first pick the Rise, it will give Meliodas options to pick up the Jarvan, which has been just probably his strongest pick over the course of both the plans and the main stage. Obviously stepped away for the first part of groups, but was an absolute terror on it. So incredibly active in the early game, but when it comes to flex picks, it feels like G2 know exactly what they want.
Rise or Sylas? That was kind of the question, but it feels like Rise outclasses, and I would be right up there saying that I believe that G2 are the best users of Rise around the world. They're so creative. They're a team that thrives off mid to late game shot calling and rotational play, and the Realm Warp's just another tool, and it can bring plenty of friends along.
And as you know, the best thing for G2 with these picks is that both Wunder and Caps are monsters on the champion. There's not that one guy that you're saying, yeah, sure, it's a flex pick, but it probably is him. And I do think that gives them so much power in these drafts. Xayah Rakan, certainly a very powerful bottom lane for G2. I would say one of their best duos that they have shown. Mickey X, I think, has been such a difference maker across this entire year for G2. And putting him on the Rakan, giving him the ability to choose those places to engage and to have that impact throughout the game, I think really means a lot for this G2 squad.
And while I have enjoyed watching Mickey on Tahm Kench, he has had some fantastic games. Rakan is his bread and butter. He is the guy known to make these big engages, and it's a similar story for Pallet on the opposite side. And now with the Morgana locked in, we might be wondering, do PVB have some flex picks of their own, or is this just going to go straight into the hands of Pallet?
And while some teams would consider Morgana a power pick at this point in the draft, what I love here is the flexibility it provides, because if you think back to North America and what the answer was to Xayah Rakan the last time that meta was around last year, Caitlyn Morgana, and the fact that you could use the Black Shield to repel a lot of the CC threat that comes in from the Rakan, and also it could just be a blind mid lane pick, and it's one of the safest overall.
Certainly possible. Morgana Varus also was another one of those more recent duos that was used as an answer to Xayah Rakan. You know, not only do you answer very well with the Black Shield, but when you're going for that grand entrance on the Rakan, you set yourself so easily up for a Dark Binding, into a trap, or into a Varus ultimate in these sorts of plays. We'll see if PVB wants to go for that sort of a strategy.
Kai'Sa still open and available. Could be a secondary ban here from G2. Not necessarily for the laning phase, but for the comfort of Big Koro, who has defaulted to it many a time.
And it feels like Big Koro plays on another level when he does have picks like the Kai'Sa or the Varus available. But G2 clearly focused on getting their bot lane a comfortable matchup, as the Draven Morgana combo has been taken off the board. Now the Caitlyn Morgana that you mentioned earlier eliminated as well. But it does mean that that Varus is up for Big Koro if he wants it.
Yeah, and this has been the most recent answer to this duo in North America. Certainly, you know, has seen quite a lot of success, especially post-6. It's very difficult for Xayah Rakan to actually match up with this. Morgana ultimate follows through with that tether on the Xayah ultimate. That does not break that whatsoever, so certainly you do have the ability to look for these very aggressive all-ins. Flash, Morgana ultimate, followed up when you land into that by a binding, by the Varus ultimate. There's a tremendous amount of potential for that all-in if they can execute well.
A lot of pressure on them to execute well, but now we're going to see what the jungle option will be for the side of G2. Camille locked in. We wanted to know how aggressive this game was going to be. I think that pick tells you everything you need to know.
I mean, this game tells you that if you don't know where Jankos is starting, you have to be so scared in lanes. Look at the gank assist he has. Just like we saw in game number 1 of the day, similar levels of gank assist come through. I wonder if the LeBlanc pick into ostensibly Morgana or a blind pick in the mid lane was try to draw Morgana into mid to remove the Black Shield there in the duo lane and make the Varus even more prey. But if the Black Shield's down, or if it's another lane, Camille feasts on champions, not the monsters.
Absolutely, but on the side of PVB, we see so many comfort picks. We've talked a lot in this tournament about playing your way. Meliodas on the Jarvan, he's been incredibly successful. The Varus Morgana for the bot lane. Now going back to Lissandra, a nerfed champion, but one that he is so incredibly proficient at.
And that's why we have to track, you know, the execution here for G2, because they need these precise, well-coordinated engages. If you are sloppy at all with that engage, there is so much CC on the side of PVB that they have the ability to take down very quickly someone like a Camille, who is a couple steps ahead of her team.
And while we might see G2 feast on the members of PVB and get the Camille going, do note a lot of smart things done by PVB in the draft. The Lee Sin banned early, the Rek'Sai banned as well, and they threw in a Hecarim ban. So they banned a lot of physical damage junglers. There weren't many left over, and the only one to not make it a 3 AP top side of the map kind of was the Camille. So they were kind of forced into a pick that could still be their undo.
See how that affects a very critical game. G2 in the race for second. SKT currently 1 win up, and PVB, they are not out of bracket stage contention yet with Liquid's loss in our first game. The dream is still alive for the VCS and for PVB. A ton of pressure on these guys as they head into the game, and for G2, it is revenge. Five games remaining in the MSI 2019 group stage. Here is your second game of the day. It will, of course, be G2 eSports going toe-to-toe with Phong Vu Buffalo, a rematch that people may not have expected to go Phong Vu Buffalo's way the first time around. G2 clearly here to play.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, G2 has been the kind of clear second so far at the tournament in many people's minds, unless SKT can upset that expectation. So certainly seeing PVB pick up that win was a surprise, and G2 rocking triple IG skins. We'll see if they can channel a little bit of that IG magic here against the Phong Vu Buffalo.
So many cheeky little nods with those skin choices. Again, what we're focusing on at level 1 is, can PVB find any strategy to make Jankos predictable? We already saw the IG Camille skin be used by the man himself in Ning to dominate the early game against SK Telecom T1. But now, at least, very shallow defenses from both sides.
And early game domination was the story for PVB the last time these two teams met, and it's no more or not obvious anywhere more than it is in that jungle matchup. You can see 1K+8 versus 8. Meliodas was a monster. Now he doesn't have the Rek'Sai this time around, but the Jarvan can be just as lethal.
And with no deep wards, notice that even though Camille's jungle clear is not something that's prized, you really don't want to give her a leash because you don't want to reveal what side of the map you're starting on. So Camille will go with the solo start, and then from there, we will watch Jankos' pathing with great interest.
We certainly will, and the biggest difference here for me is not that the J4 cannot compete with that early game of the Rek'Sai we saw from Meliodas in game number 1. It's that Jankos will have more ability to match and answer those ganks and to be the aggressor on his own.
Of course, Camille, very good at those single target camps, so we will see the red buff to blue buff from the side of Jankos, trying to split top to bot side jungling. Now interested to see when he's going to go for an early gank here. Not clear if he was spotted out on that ward, but PVB may know. Meliodas not going to opt to go for the counter jungle, instead setting his sights on the mid lane. Lots of gank assist here, but Caps giving all the respect he deserves.
I think PvP was pretty good against SKT yesterday at predicting some of the pathing of the enemy jungler and some pretty straightforward setups I think they have here as well. Zeros brawling with Wander in the top side.
And already a bit of aggressive trading on the bot side. Interesting, the Black Shield start level 1 from Powit. So once again, a lot of respect given over for both sides. Just making sure that none of these crazy plays come through. Jankos is on the bottom side. Of course, PVB do know this. The Jarvan is here as well if G2 try to force something.
And I think that's pretty smart, especially when you take into consideration the fact that they didn't know where Jankos was starting, right? If that is a level 2 Camille gank, E-flash in, flash recon engage, and you don't have the Black Shield, you are likely doomed. So that was just giving that respect over to the fact, we don't have the information, let's play it safe.
But damn does it feel bad. No lane presence at all. Going for Black Shield, it's like a Tom Kent starting Devour. You almost never see it, but given that extra wrinkle of Camille jungle, that real feast or famine jungler, I tend to agree.
And now we can see Jankos did try to go for that first gank in mid lane. Ring of Frost, of course, stopping him in his tracks before he could connect on the stun. So Null playing well around the Camille jungle so far, and it does feel like there's a certain degree of pressure for Jankos to find an early game impact on a champion who doesn't necessarily keep up with other junglers in terms of how quickly he can farm the jungle.
But zooming out and understanding how this game is likely to play out going forward, it's actually 1-3-1 on both sides, and PvB have kind of struggled to play out 1-3-1s. Team Liquid, of course, we've talked about their struggles there. The mid lane, PVB won't find anything, but there is a lot of overlap in styles here. This is not the team fight versus 1-3-1 styles clash we've seen in a lot of G2 games.
Certainly one of the concerns, though, you have is not even just the 1-3-1, but the ability for the Ryze and LeBlanc to pair up in a side lane, for a Realm Warp to come in, or a LeBlanc out of Fog, and to utilize those two solo laners to pick off one of these errant solo laners from PvB.
And terrifying too when Mickey is on the recon. If Perks is ever able to solo maintain lane pressure, you know Mickey will be roaming right into that mid lane. For now, he's got his sights set on Pallet. A good binding will stop the play from going any further, but Mickey's still fearless, throwing out autos and getting the Ignite traded back, the heal as well from Big Koro.
Love to see him pumping out the damage with the auto attacks there to make it a one-sided trade between G2 and PVB. I actually looked down all 10 champions, and actually all 10 champions have pick CC. So what this tells me, what this probably means is, given the overlapping comps and the amount of pick CC, the game victor will probably be a sum of wards. Whoever has the vision lead has so much pick CC to guarantee anyone trying to face it.
For now, not a ton of vision, but we are going to see the Black Shield used. Immediately, they turn to the other target for the side of the G2 bot lane. Big Koro getting hit again and again, but the mana bars are running low, so it will be hard for G2 Perks and Mickey to keep this pressure up.
Yeah, certainly the case, and I think G2 are doing a great job in this 2v2, keeping the pressure on, and it is certainly what you want to do, because as I talked about earlier, post 6 is really where the Morgana Varus can threaten an all-in, especially if you are bringing Meliodas down and you have that Cataclysm to boot. That is a terrifying all-in, and even 3v3 that they can certainly look to win.
And they're not even looking to wait for the level 6. You see the Lysandra and the J4 immediately moving down to the bottom side, ready to threaten if Perks and Mickey overstay their welcome here in the bot lane.
It should be mentioned that the lane state in bot goes against what this lane is expected to play out as on paper. You expect the Varus Morg, like the Kate Morg we discussed earlier, to push in, have lane control, and grow. It's a small CS lead, so Zion Rakan actually pushing away is the safest lane state for them, as Jankos can't go under turret.
Hookshot wall dive, but will not flash to extend there. Null only level 5, maybe trying to capitalize on the window before the ultimate comes available. But Meliodas here to cover as well, just in case Caps wants to go for the all-in, of course. Cleanse for the LeBlanc, not the Ignite, so not nearly as much kill pressure here, but the level 6 is now there for Null.
Yeah, and thankfully for Null, despite that bad trade, he does have TP available. So even if he is pushed back, he will be able to get back out on the map pretty quickly. And you really will want to try to regain this lane control, shove out, and look to be making plays around the map. You don't really want to just be sitting here. You want to be making aggressive plays alongside that Jarvan, whether it's in your lane or elsewhere on the map.
Jankos now waiting in the darkness. Want to back off Meliodas there as well. Is he going to try to go for the play here? Mickey, of course, roaming up. A lot of mobility on the recon. Could look to commit, but both sides just posturing around the dragon. I feel like this might be a game where we just see an arena set around that first Drake, and both teams try to commit for a big fight.
No first blood at 7 minutes in a Camille jungle game. Not ideal, but has been able to go CS for CS, so definitely no farm lead generated by the Jarvan just yet. Of course, a lot less build flexibility for a Camille who has to go into damage rather than the Jarvan, who can happily just take the back seat, go Cinderhulk, and be a frontliner.
Yeah, certainly the case, but I do think G2 are going to be still very confident in their position in this game. We know how adept they are at playing out the 1-3-1, something you had talked about earlier. PVB has certainly struggled in the slower game, so despite, draft and champion, kind of strengths and weaknesses here, when you're thinking, yes, on the Camille you want to get aggressive, at the same time, I feel unless PVB is really picking up the pace, G2 are just such a superior team at playing out the map, at creating vision, and setting up picks in the mid and late game.
And we talked about how the mid game is kind of that point where G2 very frequently come online. Now, after the first game, we may have expected, admittedly, a bit more bloodshed here on the map. But for now, both teams content to scale up. The level 6 is starting to come through. Meliodas getting his. Jankos very shortly going to get the Hextech ultimatum for Camille. And I feel like this is where we will really start to see plays being made.
Stealing away the blue buff, like we saw from G2, adds more pressure onto this Varus and Morgana that have never been able to push over the halfway point in the mid lane. Doesn't feel like PVB have the same answer on the respawn of the G2 blue buff, so will be a double blue buff scenario most likely. And if you keep up that pressure around bot side blue, the turret dives are certainly on the mid.
Ultimate now whiff, though. They're going to move in for it, but they don't expect the Jarvan to be there. TP being committed as well. Perks has to be careful. Will flash forward. Unsure why that was the call. First blood now coming out. Mickey next on the menu. 2 quick kills for PVB.
And that just had to be a misclick, I think, from Perks flashing forward there. Didn't look like he was actually able to get any counter kill. No one low enough to look for that. So G2, despite the fantastic laning they did have throughout this game, does make a mistake and get punished. You saw the level 6 come in for Varus, and it was a well-orchestrated play here from the Phong Vu Buffalo down on the bottom side of the map.
I'll have to see the replay to see if he tried to flash blow someone up with the Feather Storm and then just was never able to cast it. But given the order, yes, all we can do is conspicuous. 2 kills go down. PVB do make their play on the bot side, and the Ocean Drake going to be a nice laning tool to join as well.
Yeah, and that ultimate did actually whiff there from Big Koro, so they do step forward, but the Black Shield was on point, and let's track Perks here. Yeah, that's just a failed flash forward into the edge of the Cataclysm, didn't even get out. You have to think that is simply just a misclick there from Perks, and to cast a critical eye towards G2, Perks and Mickey X have been playing very well, but at times certainly are getting picked off and punished. It is these, mental errors and small mistakes that are costing G2 in some of their games.
Definitely the case, and for Perks, you have to wonder maybe trying to throw the Featherstorm one way and flash the other, but either way, it turns against him. But still, they're able to maintain pressure here on the bottom side for now, so not all is lost for G2. The Ocean Drake, though, while it may not affect the bot side too much, will be difficult for the top side. Wonder and Cap's going to be a little bit miserable that they have much less kill pressure than they once did in these slower lanes.
And remember that lane priority benefits one person the most. That's Jankos on this Camille, who wants to continue hook-shotting in with a lot of space, not being spotted, and finding kills. Hasn't happened so far, but the more priority you can create means you respond first, you can piggyback off of the hook shot and find some kills.
And I want to see Phong Buffalo just head back to that bottom lane, continue to look for these plays. You have flash on both of your bot laners. Ultimates are available for both of them as well. Neither of the G2 bot laners have their flash available, and that should set up for a very easy all-in when Jarvan is down alongside you. Flash in with the Morgana, set up that ultimate. Guaranteed Soul Shackle means an easy Flag and Dragon, an easy Varus ultimate to follow up.
And an important interaction to remember, you cannot Featherstorm through the Jarvan ultimate, so the flash being down.
Yanko's going to move in, though, extending the Hextech ultimatum, not going to interact with the Black Shield whatsoever, so that's going to be an easy kill pickup. Pallet potentially next. We'll be able to back off for now. One kill going over to Jankos there on the bottom side. Now don't look for a second, though. The stun does come through. That's going to be the double daggers. Pull back on the feathers here, but also Caps on the top side. LeBlanc leaping in, Perks taking the tower for now, but immediately the ulti comes out, the Cataclysm can't make it out, but may not need to. Instantly the play is turned. Meliodas taken down. Null baby next. Jankos staying next to the wall, ready to keep the play going, but the Aftershock will keep Null healthy.
And this was just such a great play from Jankos, getting down to the bottom side, preempting any potential gank from Meliodas. Had the J4 been there, it could have been disastrous for G2, but they're able to execute very, very well on it with the hookshot flash, and they get those kills and take away any potential for PVB to pull off the all-in themselves.
And it's such a pleasure to watch G2 in full flight in moments like
shot,
this.
Wall dive, Null, where's he going to go? Immediately the binding comes off to the side. Null buying a bit of time. Caps may have bit off more than he can chew, but the cleanse is there. Null now going to look for the retreat. Pallet on the front line, but Mickey is here. Jankos is here. Null going to get taken down. Pallet is next. The Soul Shackles trying to run desperately for his life. The double kill coming in for Caps. Big Koro wants to get something back, but he does not have the mobility to chase all of these champions. Mickey trying to buy time, trying to look for those cooldowns. Will not get it. A kill does come through in the end. Big Koro going to grab that one.
Still a trade up overall, and what you have to say is it just feels like G2 plays skirmishes with mobile champions at 1.5 times speed. Reminds me of the lectures, where I would watch the lectures in 1.5 times speed to get through them faster. Some of those slow talkers out there, I should know. But this is just G2 style. Watch the replay here. You were already mentioning it there. Come bot lane, gank this again. Jankos is there first, and from here, they trade up way more often than they don't.
They certainly do, and preempting that play was so good, and Big Koro now going to die again.
Big Koro absolutely deleted. Caps now on a rampage. We were waiting. It was a slower game. 10 minutes, nobody dying. Instantly, we see an explosion of aggression all across the map.
They're sniffing blood. They're going where we told PVB to go in the reverse scenario, and that just means that bot lane is a bit all over.
Wonder has to be careful, though. Running for his life, will flash out to safety. The phase rush speeding him away, but Zeros getting down a good bit of kill pressure here on the top side with the power of that Proto Belt.
Yeah, and there's no CP available for Wonder, so he's not even going to be able to actually come back to lane. Zeros trying to check for any sort of lazy recalls, won't be able to stop Wonder, but G2 across the map have been just faster on setting up the play. So that is the biggest thing here for me. The fact that they recognize the weakness down on the bottom side, they recognize their vulnerability, and they preempt any potential plays from PVB by getting aggressive. And here's Mickey X just being annoying as possible, spotted him with the sweeper, so he'll delay the recall at the last possible moment.
And now PVB know that the lane swap is coming out. Zeros will see what his next move is for now, but things are only getting harder for Null in the mid lane. While he has been a good contributor to the team's kill in that bottom side, hasn't been able to get anything else since then, and Perks and Mickey are only continuing to look stronger and stronger with those first item completions coming through.
And with the Cloud Drake spawning, they're happy to give up bot side control to take the Rift Herald in as bloodless a fashion as possible. Does also mean that Zeros no longer can overextend away, so I love the map rotation here, given the cost is just going to be a Rift Scuttler and a Cloud Drake, or first access to a Cloud Drake on the bottom side of the map.
Bad news is, of course, that the Morgana and the Varus are able to get first access there to the bottom side tower. They've taken 3 plates quite quickly. The last 2, of course, are going to fall down much slower overall. But Perkz now uncontested on the top side, getting free farm and getting solo XP as well.
Yeah, with the turret plating post 14 minutes, that armor reduction is going to be gone. They're going to be able to knock that down very easily. So they do get first turret. G2 will be able to respond on the other side of the map, but again, this is them playing away from that 2v2 that is advantageous to the Phong Vu Buffalo, and G2 certainly showing a very high level of understanding of where they are strongest, how to actually manipulate the lane assignments to avoid these disadvantageous matchups.
A lot of people on this map who want to manipulate the lane assignment away from the LeBlanc. 4-0-0 already. Caps popping off in the early games already has quite a lot of control, and it means that even in a usual kind of denial matchup for the Lissandra, Noel has to watch himself, and if the Aftershock is never procced, if you're never actually in range of the Ring of Frost, could just be solo killed instead.
And while it looks like the gold is quite close, Caps, of course, individually pretty substantial lead with those 4 kills in the mid lane. And we are now approaching that point that we've already talked about, the mid game, where G2 do come online, where they start to be able to use that map mobility, those quick reactions, that 1.5 times speed you were talking about, Papa, to make some incredible aggressive plays. But it looks like PVB may be looking to make a play of their own. Meliodas now stepping forward, the flash, instant cleanse, Caps looking for the cap jack compression, now trying to juke him out, walking away. Mickey X is there to body block, but Mickey X might be the one to go down in the end, does get taken out on the backside by Big Koro.
Yeah, PVB tired of being ran around the map, so they group up, they go for the engage, they don't catch Caps, but they do get Mickey X, and now Wonder
locked up, thought he'd be able to make it out to safety, but now he's next on the list. He's gonna get taken down. One more auto, Null's gonna get it in the end, and G2 overstepping.
Yeah, G2 getting a little bit sloppy on the rotations. They're looking for the dive.
Direct forward, Meliodas now gonna be in trouble, but not locked up under tower. Zeros is here as well. Whose ult is he gonna take? Gotta keep eyes on the Silas. Where's he going to go? Jankos does just barely manage to make it out. Flashes over the wall. Perkz trying to lock down with a bit of CC. Caps here as well, but PVB in total control in the mid lane for now. Mickey now returning. G2 will try to hold on. The wave clear is going to be enough, and Caps continues to threaten forward, but has to be careful as well. Null not going to take the claw there. Zeros now on the retreat. Mickey, though, constantly threatening. So incredibly squishy, but still so unafraid.
And turn it into an objective, but PVB, you have to admit, caught G2 napping. Wonder particularly not playing around an area where they had any priority. 2 control wards, spotting his rotation up, interrupted, taken down. Nice moment for PVB.
Caps now running though as the binding does connect. And all here in the mid lane as well. High enough level now, has enough wave clear to just to leave the way, but now wants to step forward. Caps on the backside though, just Big Koro! No, looking forward, but Caps immediately dives his backline.
It's just unfair. The man is too good. That was so sick, finding the kill onto Big Koro there, who without the Morgana around and no magic resistance is easy prey for Caps.
And you gotta love some of the symmetry of 500 gold, 5-0-0. He has the 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. Caps popping off, does it more often than not.
And this is the point where you are scared as PVB. I love the play they made in the mid lane where they come back to contest G2, but Caps being online, Caps being 5-0 is frightening for any team, and especially Phong Vu Buffalo. If they do not focus, Big Koro is going to get picked off every single fight.
Yeah, and Pallet essentially needs to be glued to Big Koro. This has to be a buddy system game. You need the Guardian, you need the Black Shield to be able to keep him alive, because he cannot afford to actually delay his build path and pick up something like a Hex Drinker this early on in the game.
Absolutely not. And Caps just gets scarier and scarier because, well, even through the Black Shield, it looks like he's approaching that one-shot threat. We saw it last game with Faker. We're seeing it here now with Caps as well. Once you can 100-0 somebody, never again will PVB enter the fog of war comfortably. Zeros, though, potentially the exception to that. Has a bit of magic resist, has the shielding and the Silas kit as well.
The 1v1's actually pretty bad for Silas against LeBlanc. Steal of the ulti doesn't provide much. LeBlanc can burst him in 2 rotations more often than not. So it's not ideal lane assignment, but it's all they have left. G2, we get to see the replay there. The fadeaway chain. 2-chain play, beautiful to see. And Caps just walks around and feels like G2 just group up in whichever lane he's in, and that's where they find their advantage.
Yeah, I'm really of the opinion that when you have someone that's this strong in the game, they become the shot caller. You do whatever allows them to be in a position to succeed. Caps is in such a monstrously strong spot that whatever lane is best for him, you're going to give him. Whatever wards he needs, you're going to get it.
Thank you, Mr. Caps.
There you go. Just hop in the backpack, Papa Smithy. We're all along for the ride.
See what the rest of the team can do to set him up for success. You mentioned Vision, Mickey clearing that out on the top side, making sure that Caps has that highway to move between lanes uncontested and unafraid. Of course, the binding could still spell death, but he has the cleanse up and available, so in a position to just continue to dominate.
And it's going to be about the layered CC for the Phong Vu Buffalo against Caps. And, that is where it gets difficult because LeBlanc is so evasive. Yes, you may be able to hit that binding. If the cleanse is there, you have to be lightning fast on a Root or a Varus ultimate or a Lissandra ultimate. It has to be one, then another immediately after the cleanse comes through.
But something PVB should realize, you look at G2's comp, kind of sucks at taking Baron. They have no one tanky on the lineup to tank it up. They have a good amount of damage, sure, but LeBlanc's can do many things, blowing up Baron, not one of them. So picks around the map first. What's important, Meliodas steals away the red buff. This game is so much about being caught in transition rather than the actual arrival. It's the journey, not the destination.
And you can see Mickey giving that the respect with the choice of the QSS, but for now, G2 just threatening the play. They see the Infernal Drake. They're not interested in giving this one up. They are ready to commit to a full 5v5 if necessary. Zeros on the top side.
Yeah, he has his teleport, but he's got to get down here soon. And PVB taking control of the area. Zeros now TPing in.
TP coming through. Now Mickey X is going to try to interrupt the engagement. Nala's in the middle of the team, already doing so much damage on Lissandra. Wonder running through, but Caps going to delete Big Koro. The 80 carry already gone. Traded on the opposite side. For now, PVB in control. 2 for 1 in their favor thus far. Pallet stepping forward with the Soul Shackles. They're going to lock up Mickey X. He QSs and tries to make it out to safety. The dash, the leap away, but it may not be enough. Jarvan chasing him down. He'll use Caps to make it out to safety. The second dash taking him away. Wonder on the backside, but PVB take the fight.
They take the fight, but they need to get back to this dragon and secure it. You don't want to be over chasing and wasting too much time. You want to see them grabbing that Infernal. That is the big prize to take after a fight like this, and G2 will have to be careful now. QSS and Cleanse both used during that fight, so another one would be dangerous, and Zeros is looking.
Stepping forward, has to go back though. Luckily gets the reactivation there on the stolen distortion to make it out to safety.
Very tricky, but in the Pandemonium, the Infernal Drake is picked up like he commanded for Azale. That time PVB were able to outskirmish. When you see the replay here, they're able to make it into a scenario where G2 will lose a lot of their cooldowns defensively, and after the TP, Jankos is in 2 minds.
And look at Perks going very far forward into this fight. He had no flash from earlier, so posturing that aggressively as Mickey X is on the other side of the fight, he does not have much protection, and he is going to go down quite easily. And then after the QSS and Cleanse are used, Mickey X and Caps are able to make the escape here, but just narrowly, as one more bit of crowd control, and either one would have meant their death.
And Pal is single-handedly burning both forms of Cleanse on the opposite side. You can see in this last team fight how much damage the Lissandra is actually able to do in these group fights, and how the Camille just ultimately was not a part of that fight, locked up and taken out before Jankos could actually have any impact.
I mean, more and more members are going to have to start paying that QSS tax. So you are seeing how devastating that crowd control can be from the Phong Vu Buffalo. That is what happened to Jankos there. You get Lissandra ultimated up, you get burst down. Perks has now picked up a QSS. Mickey X has one. And other members of G2 may have to consider investing into it.
Caps now stepping back, but he's caught between a rock and a hard place. The flash up to safety, no Cleanse. As you mentioned, Caps desperately trying to escape. Redemption coming through, and they see him burning. They want to chase, but the Q not going to connect. Caps just barely making it out.
They're actually going to give up on the chase here. We talked about how this game with the overlapping comps was likely to be a sum of the vision line. Vision line for PVB is definitely much more on point than what G2 have. They have one deep ward behind the Baron pit. Otherwise, G2 have not been able to actually get control wards on multiple members and start to attack the vision line. And like we mentioned with Pick CC, that needs you to bring a friend or two as well.
And I feel like we have to give Phong Vu Buffalo so much credit. Normally when we see a 6-0 LeBlanc, it's a nightmare to play against, but they've been so smart and so patient about how they move into the G2 jungle as a team.
Yeah, this is back-to-back games now that the Phong Vu Buffalo are challenging G2, who has been such a standout team at this tournament. And they are 3 dragons to none. They are slightly ahead in the gold, and they have a composition that can fight head-to-head here with G2. They have the ability to answer side waves. They certainly have shown they have the ability to straight up 5v5, so we'll see if G2 can find the picks, can spread the map, and perhaps pull PVB into a game that they don't really want to play.
Ocean Drake unlikely to force one of those picks, so right now you're kind of staring at the map, zooming in and trying to understand where will that next piece of action take place. Now, the Baron is, of course, a very obvious answer there, and the vision control around both sides is going to be important. As long as Big Koro is escorted, you feel like PVB can set up just fine around predictable objectives. With only one on the map, it's very, very predictable.
Now both teams posturing around that Baron, as mentioned. A brief pause in the action. PVB, of course, fishing for that engagement. PVB, the miracle run, the dream is not dead for the VCS lineup, of course. Needs wins, needs other teams to win as well. It is a bit out of their hands, but it does start with them beating G2 and beating Flash Wolves. And an even game at 23 minutes is a good start.
And even after all that, they would need to actually pick up a tiebreaker win as well. So certainly it would be the true miracle run for PVB to be able to get out. But I think even just performing well in these games is something to be very proud of for the VCS. We saw them be able to take down G2 at Worlds last year. We have seen them taking down G2 already once, and they have definitively proven, I would say, that they are the strongest emerging region, over these last couple of years.
One of their home fans, they want to find something. Do notice they've lost control of vision around Baron to make this push mid.
Now it doesn't look like G2 are even interested in contesting, but no, Caps on the backside may just try to find a pick. Could get a fight started off that G2 want. And while we talked about 1-3-1 coming through for G2, they just haven't been able to execute it yet. PVB grouping and forcing so many plays.
Yeah, they certainly are, but you are seeing the inklings kind of begin to kind of shape for G2 as Wonder was staying down on that bottom side, and it is now Zeros who has to go respond. You can see the pushing top wave as well that, again, PVB will have to respond to, and Caps is sitting on this pink ward there just out of vision because he's looking to set up a pick.
Pallets, so much damage coming through for Caps. He's going to try to retreat. Caps now backing off, has to be careful. Perks is here. Out comes the ultimate, rolling back. The shutdown, though, going through a beautiful arrow, and Perks is now in trouble. He's already burned the QSS. Meliodas going to commit to the play. The rest of G2 is here, but it's Gnaw on the backside, ready to keep this one going. Mickey's still alive. Perks still alive. Now it's Wonder, though, dishing out so much damage on the backside. Gnaw buying time, but Zeros is here right on top of Perks. He's going to grab the kill. The Lysandra passive. Going to do more damage. Going to force the GA out of Yankos, but Gnaw going to get taken down. The triple kill coming through from Wonder. He may look to clean it up. He may just look for the Penta. Wonder going to get 4. Now going to look for the 5th. Can he get it? Wonder. Will he find the pentakill here? The Quadra. The Penta for Wonder.
The absolute pop-off from Wonder here. Pentakill in what was such a close game. Wonder on the rise, taking over.
The fight starts out of nowhere. It's just a pick onto the Morgana, but everyone joins. Summoner's up, ready to fight. Tails up, and Wonder's the one who's just too good. The replay starts ages ago, it feels like, as Pallet could have just been popped. The defensive flash comes after the attempt to re-engage, and when Caps goes down, PVB says, this is our time to fight.
And that was a great ultimate from Big Koro. Flashes over the wall, finishes off Caps with that piercing arrow, but then Big Koro is quite far out of the fight. You can see at the top side of your screen, he's not able to rejoin, and they have to wait for Zeros to come in.
And that's why G2 pick up multiple kills. Big Koro out of the fight, Silas late to join. But when Silas rejoins and Big Koro is free hitting, you wonder if this is the moment. But as he channels his Q, he actually does no damage, and Wonder is under no threat to clean up the Penta.
And just a fantastic team fight overall, and you can see Perks, he got picked off, but more than happy to sit back and watch his top laner find the Penta in the kill, or Penta in that one. And from 0-1-0 to 5-1-0 has to be a good feeling, but now Null is the one who's in trouble, not going to be forced to use the ultimate. Caps, though, continues to get scarier and scarier as we move forward.
And this is actually the point where the comps are starting to come unglued from PvPs. If you play 1-3-1, now no one can answer the items of LeBlanc and Ryze. The Ryze is out of nowhere, commanded both a pick build with the Spellbinder to catch up and the Void Staff to complete, and we already knew that LeBlanc was huge in this game, so to find 2 people to answer these 2, best of luck.
Absolutely, and you can see the entire team running. No, the CC is going to connect onto Wonder. Zeros is going to step forward as well, getting the fight kicked off. Now going to steal the Rakan's ultimate. The quickness coming through. They're trying to turn it back. Zeros has taken out Mickey X. PVB still alive, still unscathed. May look to continue to extend the play. Have to be careful, though. A lot of burst on the side of G2, but a lot of low health bars as well. Caps just dissuading the engage.
That Rakan ultimate was gorgeous from Zeros there. It looked like it was going to be a poor engage, that he was going a bit too far. Instead, he's able to find this beautiful ult through so many of the members of G2.
One of those times where Silas ends up being the better Rakan. Doesn't happen all the time. That's sometimes re-engage.
Trying again. Perks now in trouble. The cleanse comes out. Caps, though, firing shots back at Meliodas. May look to pick up another kill here. Jumps back. Wonders on the front line. We could see a triple kill scenario. Yankos on the backside. Caps still uncontested, but Zeros grabs another one. Shut down onto Wonder. Steals the ulti away. Dashes to the side. Beautiful footwork, and now it's Yankos in trouble. Big Koro uncontested, and all moving forward. And G2 are falling apart.
G2 are just getting knocked down one after the other. This could be PVB looking to take a significant advantage in this game. They're heading towards the Baron. Assists are being pinged, but there's not a jungler on either side, and Caps is still alive. We have seen him pull off some magic in this tournament around the Baron.
That was definitely a Mammoth Koro moment. He was able to free DPS so strong. He's on the Baron now, but Mickey X comes to check.
He wants to check it. They know that it's been started. Caps needs to find a way into the pit, but the health bar is low. Absolute disaster potential here for G2 if they cannot contest this, if they cannot stop this Baron. 4K and dropping. It's getting lower and lower, and Big Koro is unafraid. He's not afraid to step forward to do damage where it's necessary. Caps may try to get it. Null goes over the wall. Caps, can he get it? He's buying time. It's getting lower and lower, though. Meliodas there on the backside. Nothing left. PVB will grab the Baron. They will pick up 2, and they are in absolute control.
Massive set of plays there for PVB. They pick up every shutdown from G2, and it's all off the back of this. Caps looking to poke forward here, but Meliodas, Pallet, Big Koro grouped up. Zeros comes in from behind, and Perks has no ultimate. The QSS, not enough to keep him alive.
Zeros, the most headstrong Silas we've seen in a long while, but then Big Koro upgrades to Mammoth Koro. He can frontline with the Black Shield on him, able to take a secondary kill, and they get the exit kill on Jankos as well.
The Black Shield goes up, he stands and fires, and he is wiping G2 off the map. Look at the damage coming through here from Big Koro. Absolutely monumental, and he is at such a strong point in the game now, ahead of Perks, and has so many items. The GA has even been picked up.
The on-hit build maybe never gets stronger. He went into Wit's End that allowed him the confidence to walk up, and then you have the Rage, but it's kind of like a death cap for the on-hits, given the Phantom hit every second auto. So the moment a fight starts and Varus warms himself up, gets his Kinsu Rage Bait stacks, Black Shield later, oh boy.
And another pick. Mickey now caught out once again. Null on a killing spree. That last fight, Null wasn't even there. He's looking to make up for lost time, but Perks now gonna be not in the fight. It's Caps actually trying to find the takeout. We'll just continue forward. PVB in absolute control, set up to take down this tier 2 mid.
Yeah, I mean, with Mickey X down, you have to call Wonder back up. Wonder making the move back to the side, but Zeros looking for a dive.
Line. Perks has to be careful. Zeros locked up, but he's going to steal a Xayah ult of his own and just walk away. Zeros absolutely popping off these exchanges. Tanks an extra tower shot. Now they're looking at the inhibitor line. PVB ready to push in, ready to grab more here. They're going to break the inhibitor. You can hear Vietnam and Hanoi going wild for the hometown team, and rightfully so. It's a 6K gold lead. It is absolute control for PVB.
And they have the side lane waves already set up. As you can see, they're going to join up to this top lane wave. Supers will start to spawn in that mid lane, and PVB are looking to press in on G2 here. They want to up the pace.
And with all the advantages on the soul lanes, they can't make them, but here we go.
Mickey now fishing. Null not even going to take it. They don't fight off more than they can chew. PVB slow and controlled. Immediately turn that engage around.
And the crowd control was perfect from PVB. They wait till the QSS is out, and then Big Koro nails the Varus ult. PVB looking to crack a second inhibitor and close out this game potentially.
Caps locked up, looking for the 1v1 off to the side. Pallet with the predict. Ignited, and goodbye to Caps. Goodbye to G2's hopes in this game. The dream is alive and well. Perks holding on for dear life. Jankos coming in as well, but the base is set to break. Null's TP coming home. PVB have the backup in the base that they need. They have the fans behind them. And G2, after that first loss, they wanted revenge, but PVP say, not today. We will find our place on this stage.
And found it they have. The crowd erupts as the hometown heroes here, the Phong Buffalo, knock down G2.
We walked on to cast these games and we said it feels like there are a couple more left turns before group stages are over. They get to hold their heads up high in front of their Hanoi crowd. Their only 2 victories over G2, one of the favorites for this tournament. Fantastic execution by them. They were just straight up the better team.
And not just Big Koro this time around. The entire team coming together for this win. And Zeros, in the play-ins, we expected so much from him, and we never got to see it. But in this game, in those team fights, the Silas was an absolute monster.
That was no hesitation. The amount of times he found Perks with the chains and then just problem-solved himself away with whether it was a Xayah ultimate or a Khan ultimate. His playmaking was top tier.
It was absolutely incredible to watch, and while you can certainly write off the first loss that G2 had as this jungle matchup, it's just Meliodas taking over. This one was a full team effort, and this was well and truly PVB outplaying G2 in the team fights, out-skirmishing one of the very best teams in the entire world.
And incredible, because now it means that the PVB dream is alive. Yes, it requires other teams to win in certain situations, but also for SKT, they are that much closer second. They now have a game lead. So much is happening here on the final day of MSI, but the State Farm Analyst Desk is ready to give us their thoughts on that Phong Vu victory.
Thank you, Dracos. Phong Vu Buffalo. What? 2 wins over G2 now here in the group stage at MSI. What a performance out of them. We did call, or at least you did, Spawn, for a victory out of this squad today. But it wasn't against this team.
Yeah, maybe not the team I expected to pick it against. I thought they were going to take down Flash Wolves, but this is why the team is so exciting to watch, because they just don't take a step backwards. This game looked like it was getting out of control, but then they just continue with the pace of it. They look so at home in these bloody games.
Yes.
They run over the top of G2.
They're just a growing team, right? When Meliodas came back yesterday, we thought they were going to be much better than today. Didn't think it would be this much better, but man, I love the fact that they just keep grouping up, keep skirmishing, keep fighting, and this mechanically, they've just gotten so much better.
They're disgusting, especially Pallet. Like the amount of bindings he was landing and like the foresight of knowing where to shoot them and stuff was so good to see.
And it wasn't just a win from start to finish where maybe they got a few kills early on. This was gold being picked up by both sides of the Rift. And in particular, it all came from this bot lane.
Yeah, I was ready to start this one off by saying, you know what, Jankos and Caps are back at it again. Just making Pallet and Big Koro's life a living hell, because they stuck to the bottom side of the map for a good while.
Yeah, they certainly did. And this dive in particular just shows individually the skill level of the G2 lineup. Juggling turret aggro, getting everyone else, reading the rotational play coming through from Phong Buffalo. And at this stage, I was the same. I was getting ready to, to continue to celebrate Caps and the growth of this European mid laner. But I mean, the resistance and the ability to come back from a deficit was well and truly on display.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely one of those beginnings to a game that felt pretty good. There was one misplay before that replay that rolled where Big Koro misses ultimate and then G2 gets a little over aggressive. But like, it felt like everything was going well for them, and especially with Caps, who I think started 5-0. It felt like, okay, well, the best player on their team is now fed as hell, so this is probably going to be a pretty good game for them. And it was the fact that so many fights were breaking out in other places. It wasn't just like these big 5v5s all the time. It was like skirmish here, 3v3, then a 3v3, then 2v2 over here. Made it so that, like, it wasn't like Caps could kill them all at once.
Yeah, I think ultimately we saw a problem with G2 that SKT were able to completely fill, right? Remember when SKT went up against G2, like SKT was losing their advantage, but since that point they've been able to retain it with strong vision control and being able to hit their composition. G2 had a pretty good 1-3-1. But they just got caught up in Phong Buffalo style, and LeBlanc left the side lane. Rise picked up these fights, and sure, he got a pentakill out of it, and he was feeling pretty good. But don't play towards the VCS team's play style here.
No, don't do that. Well, or do it for the pentakill, but then get back out into the side lane. I want to get into the meat of this game. Those skirmishes all throughout the mid.
And this is, once again, just like the highlight reel is happening everywhere. You can see Wonder on the top of the fight. But eyes were on Big Koro as he rejoins, because he's at this stage just the machine gun Varus that can stand and deliver and dish out so much DPS, like really well pointed out by the casters on the broadcast. But Wonder looked like he was in control at this point. Went into this team fight 0-1-0, comes out of a 5-1-0. Very nice play.
Best kind of team fight for a Rise where you are never anyone's focus.
Yep.
There's, oh, they're killing my support. Oh, they're killing my top lane or my bot lane, and you just get to run around and pick everyone up. Like, that was the ideal Rise team fight. But the problem was it didn't stop there.
Fun fact. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm so happy we have a term for these games now. The happy games that
Very
keep
happy
breaking
game.
out on Summoner's Rift. Because it looks like the players are enjoying themselves.
They are.
This is the question that I have for both IG and G2, is when you're enjoying yourself this much, can you actually regain control of it? Because, we've talked about the fact where coaching staff and stuff comes in. Both of these teams have now bought so heavily into PVB. Remember, they took 2 Nexus turrets off IG. Now they've beaten G2 twice. Stylistically, this seems like a pretty good matchup for Phong.
You got to be able to rein it in. Fun fact, though, only other time someone has gotten a pentakill and lost on the international stage was Fnatic. Reckless versus RNG at MSI 2018.
Thank you, Quick Shot. Very good quick stat there.
You're welcome.
So if you're a European fan and your team gets a pentakill in international play, start panicking.
Yeah. Hit the panic button. We saw, obviously, a G2 victory there in the mid-game team fight, so we have to jump ahead to the turning point for PVB. 3-for-1 here, 28 minutes in. Same exact spot on the map.
And just not enough awareness of where Saros will be coming from. He just finished clearing a wave down the bot lane. There's some vision control around Baron that was going on. And then, Perks just walks a little bit too far forward and gets caught out. They ignore Caps and go right through him to the AD carry. And then from there, with Perks down and Caps kind of forced onto the back foot, they can keep charging through this fight and picking off kill after kill.
1,000 gold shutdown for that Silas there. But this PVB squad. I think we have to acknowledge how much they have impressed us throughout this tournament with Meliodas back in the lineup.
Yeah, it's nice that that was the case because it was mostly Pallet making the plays past the play-in stages. And then Zhu Hao, while he wasn't a detriment at all, it just was they were losing matchups quite frequently. And so a lot of it came down to synergies that lasted during the split that had been lost. And it felt like finally being able to regain that, utilizing all of the lessons they'd learned from scrims and the first few days came through.
You threw Pallet's name out there. He picks up MasterCard Player of the Game for this performance. Again, kills going every which way, but kind of a centering force here for this squad.
And in such an aggressive game, to be able to play a ranged support that should just be, you know, pickings for something like a LeBlanc once 5 kills have been picked up, like it just was such an impressive performance because you have to be able to have some modicum of control over it. And so many of these team fights did come down to his ability to be able to read the play.
And I think it bodes pretty well for them to pick up a win here. I mean, you heard them talking about it. It's not exactly in their control to be able to find their way back into the actual race to get the 4th spot. But with how well they played today, you know, like looking ahead to the Flash Wolves games, like this feels like something that they could actually do.
And not only that, we said, you know, this is a team that could potentially decide groups. Well, now they've given SKT complete control of their destiny. G2 find themselves that game behind the Korean lineup. Of course, they still have to get through IG, but if you are an LCK fan, that's a very crucial win for Phong over the European lineup.
Oh, without a doubt, already a big shakeup here in the second game of the day for what is a very exciting race, both 2nd place and 4th place. PVB, they keep their dreams alive of making it to the knockout stage. Up next, Flash Wolves look to keep their dreams of a home game in Taipei alive as they face off against Invictus Gaming.